Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're setting our sights on Argentina, specifically looking ahead to 2026. Our mission is to explore this incredibly diverse country, think high adventure, real cultural immersion, and maybe most importantly, what it all costs.
Yeah, it's a place of huge contrasts, isn't it? You've got everything from like high desert vineyards near the Andes to glaciers way down south.
Exactly. And figuring out how to budget for those massive swings, that takes some planning.
It really does. So we've basically distilled a comprehensive travel guide for you. We're focusing on the big four: Buenos Aires, Patagonia, Iguazu Falls, and Mendoza wine country.
Right. And the challenge for anyone thinking about a trip or even just wondering about 2026 prices is finding that balance.
Yeah.
You know, how do you afford those epic remote nature trips alongside the more accessible, authentic culture stuff?
That's the core question, really. It defines the whole Argentina experience. It's easy to feel a bit lost with the scale of it all and the money side of jumping around the country.
But that's why we're here. We want to pull out the essentials for you, help you figure out where it's worth splurging for those unforgettable moments, and where you can save day to day.
So if you're ready to start mapping things out, well, you're in the right spot.
Okay, let's unpack this. So let's start where most people do, in the capital. Buenos Aires. It often gets called the Paris of South America.
Yeah, and you can see why. Those wide boulevards, the architecture feels very European. But it's more than just looks, isn't it? It's about the cultural density, the arts, the whole vibe.
It really is. It's a city you just want to wander around and discover. And what's interesting is a lot of the best experiences are surprisingly low cost.
That's a key point.
Yeah.
It feels grand, but many joys are free.
Yeah.
Like take the San Telmo market on a Sunday. It's historic, bustling.
Right. Our sources really stress the experience there. It's not just shopping, it's the atmosphere, street tango breaking out, antique stalls everywhere, the history in the buildings. Just soaking that in costs nothing.
You only spend if, you find that perfect old map or some local craft you can't resist.
Then you've got La Boca, Caminito specifically. Those super colorful houses everyone recognizes.
Iconic, yeah. Again, walking around, taking photos, learning about the immigrant history behind those colors, that's free. But it's a complex area, too.
Ah, so?
Well, for context and maybe a bit more security, a lot of travelers do opt for guided tours there.
Ah, okay. And what do those run, typically?
Usually around $15 to $30 US. They give you that deeper story.
So right there, you see that spectrum again. Free immersion or pay a bit for context. And that spectrum really comes alive with Tango, right? This is our Tango deep dive.
Well, absolutely. Tango isn't just one thing. You've got the sort of two ends of the scale.
Okay, what are they?
On one side, you have the authentic local experience, finding a milonga.
Right, the local dance halls.
Exactly. But they're more than just halls. They have their own social rules, a whole etiquette. If you just go to watch, which is fascinating. By the way, often there's no cover charge or maybe just the price of a drink.
And what about those social rules? That sounds important if you're a visitor wanting to be respectful. You don't want to blunder in.
Good question. The big one is the que beseo, the silent invitation.
How does that work?
Well, generally, men don't just walk up and ask someone to dance. It's all done with eye contact. Intense eye contact across the room, then a slight nod. If the other person nods back, then they meet on the dance floor.
Wow, that's subtle. Keeps things elegant, I suppose. Prevents awkward public refusals.
Precisely. And the music structure is key too. They play in sets called tandas, usually 3 or 4 songs of the same style. Then there's a short musical break, the cortina, before the next tanda starts. Knowing that helps you understand the flow of the evening.
So for the price of a coffee, you get this deep dive into local culture just by observing carefully.
Exactly. But then there's the other end of the spectrum.
For the big show, the tourist experience.
That's it, the full dinner and show package. This is a major step up in cost. We're talking maybe 50 to 100 US per person.
Okay, quite a jump.
Yeah, it's professional theater.
Yeah.
Elaborate costumes, slick choreography, often a multi-course meal included. It's less about local social interaction, more about spectacle. High production value.
So you trade intimacy for performance. Got it. Now, shifting gears slightly, you can't talk Argentina without talking food.
Yeah.
Specifically, the paella.
The barbecue. Essential.
If you're planning a decent mid-range meal out, maybe in a trendy spot like Palermo, what should you budget for that classic steak experience?
You're probably looking at somewhere between, say, $20 and $40 US per person. But remember, it's not just any steak.
Right. The quality and the cuts are different.
Yeah. Argentine cuts are often generous, Cooked slowly over wood embers, that smoky flavor is key. You want to try things like ojo de bife, that's ribeye or vaccio flank steak. They're amazing.
Okay, mouth-watering already. But what about when you need something quick and cheap? That $40 steak isn't an everyday thing for most travelers.
That's where the humble empanada comes in, the ultimate budget hack.
Ah, yes, the little pastries.
Absolutely. Our sources say you can find delicious ones. Beef, ham and cheese, veggie, for about $2 each at local bakeries or cafes.
So you could have a really satisfying, authentic lunch for, what, $6 to $8?
Easily. Phenomenal value, especially in a capital city.
And that affordability seems to extend to getting around the city, too. The transport costs looked surprisingly low.
Yeah, this is a big win for travelers.
Yeah.
The subway and the buses,
Yeah.
fares are incredibly low. We're talking around 40 US cents a ride.
40 cents? How is that even possible, especially with the inflation we hear about? That seems disconnected from, say, expensive Patagonian flights.
It does raise questions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's heavily subsidized by the government. A social policy, really. The cost gets absorbed elsewhere in the economy, which has its own issues, obviously.
But for the visitor in 2026...
For the visitor, it means your daily transport budget is almost negligible. It makes exploring the city super accessible.
And taxis or ride shares? Are they expensive?
It's still pretty reasonable. Taxis for short hops might be $5 to $10 US. And you've got Uber and Cabify, which keep prices competitive. So getting from San Telmo's history to Palermo's restaurants is easy and cheap.
Okay, let's make that big jump now, south. We're leaving the city grid behind and heading into Patagonia. That shift from urban culture to wild, windswept landscapes really hits home how diverse Argentina is.
It's a massive shift. This is nature on an epic scale.
Yeah.
But this is also where your budget really starts to feel the pressure.
A toss of remoteness.
Exactly. The experiences are incredible, often once in a lifetime. But getting there, staying there, doing things there, it all comes at a premium. The star attraction for many is Perito Moreno Glacier near El Calafate.
Just this colossal wall of moving ice.
Mind-blowing. So the first cost is just getting into Los Glaciares National Park.
Yeah.
That entry fee is running about $35 US.
Okay, $35 gets you onto the walkways, the viewing platforms, lets you see the glacier face.
Yeah, and the views from the platforms are fantastic, don't get me wrong. You get a real sense of scale.
But a lot of people want to get closer, right? Feel the power a bit more.
That's where the boat tours come in. They take you out on the lake right up near the glacier face. If you're lucky, you'll see calving huge chunks of ice crashing into the water. It's spectacular.
And the cost for that closer look?
Those boat tours range quite a bit, maybe $60 to $120 US.
Okay. Now, here's where our source material got really interesting. For the serious adventure seeker, just watching isn't enough. They want to walk on the glacier, the ice trek.
Yes, the ice trek. This is definitely a premium experience, a totally different proposition.
How much premium are we talking?
For a half-day trek, including all the gear, crampons, harnesses, guides, safety briefings, you're looking at somewhere between $160 and $200 US.
Whoa. Okay, that's a serious chunk of change, especially after maybe paying hundreds for the flight down there. What justifies that price tag? Is it really worth 4 or 5 times the park entrance fee?
It's a few things. First, safety and expertise. You're on a moving glacier. It's potentially dangerous. You need highly trained guides, specialized equipment, insurance. That all costs money.
Makes sense.
Second, access is tightly controlled. They limit how many people can walk on the glacier to protect it, so you're paying for a degree of exclusivity.
Okay.
And third, the experience itself is just unforgettable. You're walking through this landscape of deep blue crevasses, ice caves. You feel tiny against the scale of it. It shifts from I saw it to I was in it. For adventure lovers, it's often seen as a must splurge.
Right. A totally different level of immersion. Now, speaking of adventure, a lot of trekkers combine Argentine Patagonia with a hop over the border to Chilean Patagonia, especially Torres del Paine. It's right there.
Very common, yeah. And Torres del Paine is a good example for looking at accommodation costs in these remote hiking areas.
What are the options there?
Well, you've got the budget end, campsites, if you're carrying your own tent, sleeping bag, food, stove. You can camp for around $10 US a night. Very basic, self-sufficient.
A hardcore option.
Pretty much. Then you step up to the refugios. These are mountain shelters or huts.
Okay, what do they offer?
They give you a bunk bed in a dorm, shared bathrooms, and often you can buy meals there, so you don't have to carry as much food or cooking gear. Much more comfortable after a long day's hike.
But more expensive, I assume.
Significantly. You're looking at maybe 60 to 90 US per night for a bed in a refugio. You're basically paying for convenience and less weight in your pack.
Which brings us neatly to the big elephant in the room for Patagonia. the overall logistical costs, the budget shock, as our notes call it.
Yeah, this is where people can get caught out if they haven't planned carefully. The distances are vast. Getting down there is the first hurdle.
Flights from Buenos Aires.
Essential, really, unless you have unlimited time. And they are expensive. You're often looking at $200 to $400 each way to El Calafate or Ushuaia.
Wow, each way. Why so pricey?
Limited competition on those routes, long distances, the cost of fuel, operating in remote areas. It all adds up. Those flights alone can blow a hole in a budget.
But what about getting between towns once you're in Patagonia? Say, El Calafate to El Chalten, the hiking hub.
Okay, the regional buses are a viable, much cheaper option. They might cost 30 to 60 US.
That's more manageable.
Definitely. But they take time. You might spend a whole day on a bus versus a couple of hours on a plane. So it's that classic trade-off. Time versus money. Spend $350 on a flight to save 18 hours, or $50 on a bus and use a travel day.
Decisions. And accommodation costs down there reflect the remoteness, too.
Very much so. And it's very seasonal. You can find basic hostels, maybe starting around 30 US, which is okay. But anything mid-range or luxury, the prices jump fast. Lodges with amazing views can easily be $300 US a night and go way up from there.
Okay. And finally, food. We're not getting $2 empanadas down here, are we?
Not so much, no. Refueling after hiking costs more. Expect restaurant meals to be more in the $15 to $30 US range.
Especially for local specialties.
Yeah, and you should try them. Patagonian lamb, fresh trout, they're delicious. But remember, everything has to be transported long distances down there, so that cost gets passed on.
All right, let's shift dramatically again. We're leaving the cold, wind-swept south and heading way up north to the heat and humidity of Iguazu Falls.
Total change of scene. If Patagonia is about ice, Iguazu is about the raw power of water. It's truly one of the world's great natural wonders.
The sound, the spray, it must be incredible. We're focusing on the Argentine side, which apparently has more walking trail?
Yeah, the Argentine side has extensive networks of trails, upper circuits, lower circuits, the walkout over the Devil's Throat. It's very immersive.
And the entry fee to the park on the Argentine side?
It's quite reasonable compared to some global landmarks. Around $25 US. That gets you access to all those walkways and viewpoints.
But just like the Glacier, there's an upgrade option for more intensity.
The boat tour, the one that takes you right under the falls.
Okay, you get drenched, right?
Absolutely soaked. But it's a thrill. That costs roughly $50 to $80 US.
So here's the question. Is that extra $50 to $80 worth the splash compared to the amazing views you already get from the trails for $25? What's the trade-off?
I think it comes down to what kind of experience you want. The trails give you perspective, scale, beauty. You can contemplate the immensity of it all.
Right.
The boat tour is pure sensory overload. It's intense, loud, powerful, maybe a bit chaotic. You feel the force of the water. It's less about contemplation, more about raw physical experience. Short, sharp, memorable.
So if you want that adrenaline rush, that feeling of being in the waterfall, the boat's worth it. If you're more about soaking in the views and maybe taking photos, the trails are enough.
That's a good way to put it. Trails for perspective, boat for the splash. And nearby, there's also something a bit calmer, focused on conservation.
The Gira Oga Wildlife Refuge.
Exactly. They rescue and rehabilitate local wildlife, monkeys, birds, other animals, often injured or rescued from trafficking. It's a nice counterpoint to the power of the falls. Helps you understand the surrounding ecosystem.
And the cost for that.
Pretty modest, about $10 US entry. Good for families, too.
Now, critically, after talking about the high costs in Patagonia, this northern region around Puerto Iguazu, it offers some budget relief, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's a very welcome contrast. Food is much more affordable up here. You can get hearty local meals for maybe $8 to $15 US.
Why the difference?
Lower transport costs compared to Patagonia, more local agriculture, just costs less to operate.
And accommodation.
Also cheaper. Budget hostels might start around $20 US a night, and you can find decent mid-range hotels for maybe $70. So yeah, your daily spending can drop quite a bit in the north.
Okay, fourth corner of our journey. We're heading west now toward the Andes into the high-altitude desert landscape of Mendoza.
Wine country. This is the heartland of Argentine wine, especially Malbec.
Right. And the landscape itself is key to the wine, isn't it? The altitude, the Andes Mountains nearby.
Absolutely crucial. These vineyards are high up, using pure Andes meltwater for irrigation. You get intense sunshine during the day, cool nights, and relatively poor soil, which actually stresses the vines in a good way.
Stresses them? How?
It makes them produce smaller, more concentrated grapes. That combination, sun, cool nights, water, soil, is what gives Malbec its deep color, intense fruit flavors, and those signature tannins. The mountains basically shape the wine.
Fascinating. So naturally, the main activity here is visiting the bodegas, the wineries. How do most visitors do that?
The most common way is a structured wine tour.
Hmm,
Makes sense, right? You don't want to be driving after tastings.
good point. What do those tours typically involve and cost?
They usually cost somewhere between 50 and 100 US dollars.
Hmm.
That generally includes transport between wineries and tastings at several different places. It's the easy, planned-out option.
But if you want to really splash out, there's a more indulgent option?
Oh, yeah. The ultimate treat is booking a gourmet lunch at a winery with wines paired specifically to each course.
Ah, the full gastronomic experience.
Exactly. You're sitting among the vines, often with incredible Andes views, enjoying amazing food designed to complement their best wines. That pushes the price up, maybe around 120 US. But for food and wine lovers, it's pretty special.
Okay. But what about for someone on a tighter budget or who wants more flexibility than a set tour?
There's the independent route, usually done by bicycle.
Cycling through vineyards? Sounds nice.
It is. You can rent a bike for about 20 US a day. Some areas around Mendoza are flat with marked bike paths connecting wineries. You just pay for tastings or entry fees individually at the places you choose to stop.
So more planning involved, but potentially cheaper and more freedom.
Exactly. You need to map it out, check which bodegas welcome cyclists, but yeah, total flexibility.
And Mendoza isn't just wine, right? The Andes are right there.
You can't escape them. And you shouldn't want to. It's easy to combine wine tasting with a trip into the mountains. A key spot is Aconcagua Provincial Park.
Home to the highest peak outside of Asia.
That's the one. You get stunning high desert scenery, great hiking opportunities, and views of Mount Aconcagua itself. And the park entry is surprisingly cheap, only around $8 US.
Wow. So you could have that $120 fancy wine lunch one day and an $8 world-class hike the next. Nice balance.
Definitely. And outside the wineries, general food costs in Mendoza City are pretty reasonable too.
Similar to Iguazu.
Yeah, local markets, casual cafes. You can eat well for $8 to $15 for a simple meal. So apart from your specific wine splurges, daily living costs are manageable.
Okay, we've covered the four main regions and the big-ticket experiences, but Argentina's richness also lies in its everyday culture. We talked tango, but what about the other national obsession, football?
Ah, football, yes.
Wow.
Going to a match, especially Boca Juniors at their stadium, La Bombonera in Buenos Aires, people say it's one of the most intense cultural experiences you can have.
Not just watching a game, then.
Oh, no. It's pure passion, noise, singing, chanting. The whole stadium bounces, literally. It's an incredible atmosphere.
And surprisingly, unlike big sports events in other parts of the world, getting tickets isn't necessarily bank-breaking.
That's a key point. Depending on the game and where you sit, tickets can be as low as 10 to 25 US USRS. Amazing value for that level of energy and spectacle.
Incredible. And if people want to try moving themselves, maybe get a feel for tango before trying a milonga.
Beginner group tango classes are easy to find, especially in Buenos Aires. They usually start around $20 US. It's a fun way to learn the basics, meet people, and just appreciate how complex the dance really is.
Good idea. And local markets beyond San Telmo?
Yeah, the Feria de Mataderos in Buenos Aires is great for seeing more traditional gaucho culture, crafts, folk music. Free to wander around, soak it up.
Okay, now let's pivot to the really crucial stuff for planning a 2026 trip, the practical logistics. We have to talk about inflation.
Yes, this is absolutely vital. Our sources emphasize that prices in Argentina can change, sometimes quite quickly, because of ongoing inflation. Fuel, food, imported goods.
So that $20 Parillo we mentioned.
Might be $25, might be $30 by the time you actually travel. You absolutely must build a buffer into your budget. Don't plan down to the last peso. Flexibility is key.
Okay, crucial advice. Buffer needed. But perhaps the single most important money tip involves how you actually exchange your currency, right? This is where the blue dollar comes in.
Precisely. This can make a massive difference to your spending power. The official exchange rate you get at a bank or often using a standard credit card, it's usually not very good.
Worse than the market rate.
Significantly worse, historically. There's a parallel market rate known as the dollar blue, which gives you many more Argentine pesos for your dollars or euros.
Okay, but how does a traveler in 2026 safely access this better rate? You don't want to be doing dodgy deals on street corners.
No, definitely not. There are much better ways now. Services like Western Union have become a key method.
How does that work?
You basically send money to yourself online from your home account via Western Union. Then you go to a Western Union office in Argentina, they're in most cities, and pick up the cash in pesos. The rate they give you is usually very close to that favorable parallel market rate.
And the difference can be huge.
It can effectively give you like 50% more spending power, sometimes more compared to using an ATM. It dramatically changes the affordability of everything from that Patagonia flight to your daily empanada.
Wow. Okay, so that's a game changer. Bring foreign cash, USD or euros, or use a service like Western Union to get pesos inside Argentina.
That's the smart play. Credit cards are widely accepted in cities and tourist areas, but always try to check what rate they're using. And for smaller places, local shops, markets, maybe some Malacca's cash is still king. They often prefer pesos, and sometimes prices might even be a bit lower if you pay cash.
What about ATMs? Just avoid them.
Pretty much, if you can. Withdrawal limits are often low, and the fees can be really high. You end up paying those fees over and over. Use them only as a last resort. Plan ahead with Western Union or cash.
We've established Argentina's huge. Getting between Buenos Aires, Patagonia, Iguazu, Mendoza, it's like crossing continents. So choosing how to travel between these hubs is a big decision. Time versus cost again.
Absolutely. It's a fundamental choice you have to make based on your priorities and budget. The most economical way is definitely the long-distance bus network.
And these aren't basic, uncomfortable buses, are they?
No, not at all. Many are surprisingly luxurious. You can get bed, or semi-bed seats that fully recline, almost like business class on a plane. They serve meals sometimes. They're designed for long hauls.
And the cost?
Much cheaper than flying, maybe $20 to $70 US, depending on how far you're going and the class seat. Great if you have the time journeys, can easily be 20 hours or more and want to save serious money.
But if you're on a standard 2-week vacation, losing 20 hours on a bus might not be feasible.
Exactly. If you need to jump quickly, say from Mendoza over to Iguazu, flying becomes almost a necessity.
The time-saving option?
Right. Domestic flights, as we said, especially to Patagonia, are a major budget item. $100 to $400 isn't unusual. You're paying a premium to buy back your vacation time.
So you have to ask yourself, how much is a full day of your trip worth?
Precisely. Is saving $300 worth spending an extra day traveling? Only you can answer that based on your schedule.
Okay. And one last logistical tip that applies everywhere, especially with inflation in mind. Booking accommodation.
Yes, book ahead. Especially if you're traveling during peak season, summer in Patagonia, Big Feb, maybe harvest time in Mendoza, Febmar, holidays in Buenos Aires. Popular places fill up fast.
And prices can go up.
They certainly can, both because of demand and potential inflation. Booking accommodation well in advance locks in a rate and gives you peace of mind. Don't leave it to the last minute if you can help it. #outro.
So after all that, what's the takeaway? Our deep dive for Argentina 2026 really confirms it's a land of incredible, rewarding contrasts.
Definitely. And it offers so much for potentially quite different budgets if you understand those specific financial logistics we talked about, especially the currency exchange.
Right. You could plan a trip that leans heavily into local culture. The free Tango viewing, the $2 empanadas, the 40-cent subway rides, maximizing savings with the blue dollar rate, and have an amazing, affordable time.
Or you can aim for those peak premium adventures, trekking on the Perito Moreno Glacier for $160, that $120 gourmet wine lunch in Mendoza, taking the $400 flights to save time.
And the great thing is you don't necessarily have to pick just one extreme. You can mix and match.
Absolutely. The country's diversity means there's something for pretty much every style of traveler. The real key is being intentional, knowing where you want to save and where you're willing to splurge for those unique experiences.
Understanding the cost of remoteness in Patagonia versus the affordability of the North, using the financial tools available, that's crucial.
It really is. Being prepared for the scale, both geographically and financially, makes all the difference.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, our listener, to ponder. If you had to choose, where does the most lasting value lie for you? Is it in the high-cost, awe-inspiring adventure of standing on ancient Patagonian ice? Or is it in the low-cost, intimate cultural connection of navigating the subtle codes of a Buenos Aires milonga?
The epic, silent landscape versus the vibrant, present-moment city life. It's that choice between awe and intimacy, maybe. Something to think about. Planning for those contrasts, not just in scenery but in value, might be the real secret to an unforgettable Argentine adventure.
Indeed. Well, until next time, we hope this deep dive helps you map out your own journey.